who's back in the house. He's kicking about. It's that song.
That is how that goes.
Do you like women's sports? Sports across the gender spectrum? How about you're sick of men's sports? Well, that's what we're here to talk about.
On this show, we work to level the sports coverage across the gender spectrum.
Welcome to Balance Sports.
I'm Hunter.
I'm Jewelz.
Let's get into it.
Welcome back to Balance Sports. I'm Jewelz.
I'm Hunter.
We're going to get started first with some college news, some sad college news. Paige Bueckers has been injured once again, her ACL this time.
Really devastating news.
Devastating news.
Obviously, she was out. She missed 19 games last season. Her freshman year, she was the consensus National Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. Sophomore season, missed 19 games. And then now going into her junior year, she's going to miss the entire season. Super unfortunate. This is why, though, grateful for the NIL. Talk about what that's going to mean for her now.
My second thought after just the devastation of it was I'm really glad she has had a lucrative NIL deal, because hopefully, I'm so hopeful, I know that she is going to come back. But if she doesn't, some people just never recover from an ACL injury. If she doesn't come back, she was able to benefit from her athletic ability at the right time for her. So I'm just really happy for her that she got that. And it's possible that she may get more money because she's still popular and can come back and continue to make that deal and get to the next level.
She's incredibly popular. I think she's in probably the 1% of NIL deals, or just her fans. I thought it was pretty astounding that we were at a WNBA professional game last night and we were asking, but the media is asking Stewie and Gabby. Stewie is like the greatest player in the world right now. Both of them played at UConn, but people are asking, what do y'all think about Paige, this 19, 20-year-old college athlete that just speaks to her, I feel like, stardom beyond her athleticism. Sure. There's a reason she gets all these NIL deals. So hopefully a speedy recovery for her. I don't think UConn's going to be that, it's not like this just slid them off the radar. They're going to be all right. It's still UConn, but it's a big loss for any team.
Absolutely. Continuing with news updates, it was reported that BG's verdict came in, and she pled guilty and is facing 9.5 years in prison.
We're going to play a video here for Brittney Griner real fast and just hear from her real quick.
I had no intent on breaking any Russian laws. I had no intent. I did not conspire or plan to commit this crime. I want to apologize to my teammates and the organization, Gimka, for any damage that I may have done to them. I never intended on hurting them. This is my second home, and all I wanted to do was just win championships and make them proud.
Now, the prosecutors asked the judge this morning to sentence her to 9.5 years behind bars.
Your thoughts on that video?
Oh, it feels like she was fighting back tears, which, hell, I understand. Using language like taking responsibility, I think, is an attempt to show, I know what's going on. And to not make the Russian government look like they're doing anything wrong. So it's heartbreaking. And all I want to do is uplift her. And I hope that we can get her home soon. I don't know. It's just devastating. It really, really, really is.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of words when you watch that video. It just puts a pit in your stomach. I agree with everything you said. I keep, I'm going to say shocked by just the strength she has to have been enduring this for the amount of time she has and still be like, I'm so sorry to my team and my, the players that are on my team,
club and stuff,
club, oh my gosh, to be apologizing to these other people when you're going through this. I just speaks to her character. I'm going to focus on the positive here. This thing, I've found a couple tweets. One of them says, remember, experts say regardless of how many years BG was sentenced to, the sentencing is a formality, and regardless, the sentencing having happened now will help advance prison swap talks. Right. So obviously not great that she was convicted. I think a lot of people knew that was going to happen. Right. But now that the court case is done, Russia's been very clear, y'all stop asking for a prison swap. We have to let our justice system take place. Boom. Y'all's justice system has done whatever the hell it thinks it was doing. let's figure something out now. So hopefully they can get talks moving forward. Want to see BG home as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Let's get into WNBA news now. How about New York?
How about New York?
We are crawling back into the conversation.
Yeah, it looked like they were down and out against the Sparks. They came back and won. That's a game I needed a lot. That 61-64 tells me that game was trash. That is a bad score. Do you ever look at a score and you're like, that's not going to be a game I go back and watch?
Yeah.
It's that one for me. After the first quarter, the Sparks are winning 24-8 and somehow lost that game. So,
wow.
Sparks, different trajectory. I also want to talk about Ryan Howard. Had an amazing game last night.
Yes.
Give me 2 seconds to pull
Carried
up the
my
stat
fantasy.
line. Shut up. Do you want to talk about the fantasy right now and how
No,
you've injured all of my
no.
players? Nancy Kerrigan to everyone on my team. You officially put out a hit on Kelsey Mitchell, Tiffany Hayes, and you whispered sweet terribles into Tina's ear before yesterday's game because she had 3 whole points. Tina, how dare you?
So the other surprising games were Washington beating Vegas and Dallas beating Chicago.
Yep, we didn't have those.
We did not.
Washington's playing really well right now. And that was just a good game to me. I don't think, it looks like the Aces didn't score what they're used to scoring. Asia Wilson had 22 and 12. So she did her piece. Lauren Jackson's favorite player, Marina Mabry, had 26 when Dallas played Chicago. That was pretty cool for Marina.
Yeah, good for Dallas. Like a team that's battling to stay in the conversation and to get into playoffs. So they're doing what they need to do.
We still have to talk about y'all. Keep on battling. They are. They went from out of the playoffs to now they are pretty firmly in the 6th spot by like a game and a half. It went from all those teams were really close, and it takes one game to get close again. But I didn't see Dallas being the team. If you would have said pick one team on today that you think will be pulling ahead, I wouldn't have said Dallas is going to be a game and a half above the 7 seed.
I'm trying to think I'm trying to remember who I selected. I know I said Minnesota was the 8th seed.
I feel like you liked Dallas. You were like, they have too much talent.
Hey, look at me.
And look at you, they're there. And I said where. That was that conversation we had.
Okay.
I said Atlanta.
You did.
I didn't say New York. I think I said Atlanta. Gosh, I said Minnesota. The nerve. Atlanta, Minnesota, and the Sparks. And guess what? I hope all 3 of those teams don't make it just so I can walk off into the sunset.
So to date, no one else has clinched a playoff spot. We're still at the top 5.
Still with the top 5 and still with Indiana clinching a home position during the playoffs this season.
They're going to Cancun.
Cancun, they better get up in that gym.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. Speaking of the best players who don't need to practice and stay up in the gym, Odyssey Sims done had hers.
Oh my goodness. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Wasn't Odyssey? Was she ever on Dallas?
You actually nailed it. Odyssey Sims appeared in 34 games for the Dallas Wings in 2016, but she was in Tulsa before that. I didn't realize she went with him to Dallas.
All right. The first time this season we saw her was here in Seattle playing with Minnesota. I think she was with them for 2 games.
And then
she stayed home. She said, I'm going to be sitting this one out. Or maybe they said that. And now Connecticut's like, come on, play.
So Bria Hardley, unfortunately, obviously went down with an ACL injury. Speaking of ACLs, can we all just get our knees right this summer?
Gracious.
Summer at bad knees. It's up in this house for sure. I can't run anymore. Bria Hardley tore her ACL.
Yes.
The Connecticut Sun needed to pick somebody up. Odyssey Sims makes a lot of sense for what they needed. They needed a guard that can come in and kind of give some rest. It just is an interesting pickup to me as she has not played since the first or second week of the season. And I do think I just don't know how active she is. I really like Odyssey Sims' game. You know this. My fantasy team is called the Odyssey Hymns. Texas Girly. I will ride with her into the off season.
Yeah, very interesting pickup. I think that speaks to how talented they see her and like the reality of, yeah, she can sit for 2 months and she's still that good. Or at least they believe she can contribute enough. Like, which I think is really impressive. I'm sure I would bet that she was in the gym and staying active and being ready for the call. So good for her. And I hope that, I'm sure Connecticut will make a deep run in the playoffs. So that'd be very exciting for her. She's never gotten a ring. Imagine if that was the case. Like,
it's interesting to me that a couple other players have gotten injured, and I just keep finding it fascinating that WNBA teams are going with more veteran players instead of giving some rookies that weren't picked up a chance. And I wonder if that just speaks to, you can call around the league and say, what was Odyssey Sims like? Can you give me a synopsis on her? I've seen her play. We have film, maybe knowing just how she'll fit into a system. I just keep looking for reasons why rookies aren't getting more chances or younger players.
I think I would go with a veteran as well, especially at this time.
That's a good
like
point.
If you've been around the league, you know how to pick things up a little bit quicker than a rookie would. So yeah, I think late in the season, I would go with somebody who's been around. Unfortunately, I just don't think you have the time to work with a rookie.
Yeah,
and develop them.
Good point. Odyssey Sims, congrats on being back in the league. Can't wait to see you in the playoffs. Hoop it out. So as we're nearing the end of the season, a lot of teams are pumping their players up. They are doing some campaigns on social medias. As our social media guru over here, we've got a couple different screenshots, and we're going to go into how realistic these campaigns are. Will we see them final in November during election months? No, we'll know way before then. But how real do you think some of these campaigns are?
I mean, they're really campaigning, so they're very real. How realistic?
Yeah, that's a better question. How much are you willing to validate some of these campaigns, and how much, and I'm being so real.
Sure.
I don't fault these teams for being like, let's pump our own players. That's what you're supposed to do. There seems to be a little bit of realism unattached to some of these campaigns, and that's where I'm just like,
what you doing?
Yeah, media, y'all know this girl's not getting this award, right? Why are you even trying? I feel like they could be doing
other things.
Thank you.
Other promotional activities.
Promote, if you're the Dallas Wings, Marina Mabrey is the best Australian player, mama. Lauren Jackson said it.
So I believe you're talking about Veronica Burton.
That's it.
As an all-rookie team member. Are you saying no?
I am.
Okay. How many rookies get to be on the all-rookie team?
I'm almost positive 5, but now we got to do the search.
Yeah. Because if it is 5, Ryan Howard, Shakira Austin, Melissa Smith, Emily Inksler, Queen Egbo. Off the top of my head, that's who I'm going with.
Where was Veronica Burton on that list?
Yeah, that's not who I would select. I'm going off of what I've seen and roughly some numbers that float around in my head. Who would you pick just off the top?
It's 5 players.
Mm-hmm.
Shakira Austin, boom. Ryan Howard, Melissa Smith, Queen Egbo, and Rebecca Gardner. Absolutely. And there's a couple other older rookies that I would probably look at. Veronica Burton is down that list. No tea, no shade. She's a great player. This to me is just where you're not getting the realistic thing. I believe, shout out to M. Adler again here, but I believe M, from that Dallas tweet, posted a list of minutes just of rookies. And Veronica Burton was like 12th on that list of just the amount of minutes rookies are getting. She's getting 13 minutes a game. Dallas, look me in the eyes and tell me that you think a player you're only playing 13 minutes is a league-wide nominee for anything.
That is exactly what they said via social media.
They have Charlie Collier on that team. She was on the all-rookie team last year, and she barely get any burn. So, Dallas, interesting.
Over in Connecticut, we have some... Have I showed you these?
I think you sent me one.
They're going with a cooking... I think it's like, she's in the kitchen cooking up.
Sexist.
Right? It's very Top Chef as the 6th woman of the year to Breon Jones. I don't get the campaign. The last player you'd want to face in a skills test, Chef Breezy, was the comment to that one. There's like a TV guide. Like, what the hell? Who gets TV guide anymore?
Look. You have to remember that these marketing folks reside in Uncasville, and they get hella TV guides out there. This was actually incredibly specific to their general area.
Like, we are talking to our fan base. You don't stand Breon Jones as the 6th woman of the year?
No, I really like her for that award. I don't like those advertisements.
Okay. I would agree.
The campaign is silly.
The campaign doesn't work.
But
for
you
me.
know what? This is one of them that y'all can be silly because she's going to be nominated for this. Like, she's probably one of the 3 people in the running. Boom. She's already going to be there. Y'all don't have to put out as much stuff. Some of these other ones, I'm like, you're doing it just so we can remember.
Gotcha.
Alti, Ezzy's not going to win the Defensive Player of the Year award. We played her. Speaking of 13 minutes, Ezzy's minutes have dropped. There's no way she can get that Defensive Player of the Year. To me, some of these campaigns are just like, and remember her. Remember me. You just have to cut out and break out into song sometime.
Oh my God. That was so good. Sticking with Connecticut, they are also making a push for Alyssa Thomas as Defensive Player of the Year.
Another great argument, honestly, on their behalf. How's that ad look?
You hate it. I mean, it's the Fast and the Furious.
Oh, okay. This is my qualm with this one. Do you watch Alyssa Thomas play and think Fast Furious? The
graphics are nice.
The graphics are nice. Where I have to stop myself is I don't know those players personally. So maybe Breon Jones loves cooking, and they're like, "How would you want us to promote you?" Maybe Alyssa Thomas comes into the parking lot every day on 2 wheels, and they're just like, "Oh, clearly she's the Vin Diesel of the sun. Let's give her some tie-ins to Fast and the Furious." I don't know. To me, they feel like stretches. Let me know beforehand. Let me know why we're doing this.
Why is it Fast and the Furious?
Why is Breon on a TV infomercial?
I hate
that
this one
one's
so
bad.
much. It's really, really
it looks
bad.
like a 90s church ad.
I believe that they don't make these anymore.
TV guides?
Yeah, like the physical copy.
They definitely do.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because my mom watches soaps, and so I'll be at the checkouts all the time, and I will send her, like our cute little thing. I'll send her a picture, and I'm like, I can't believe that Ridge left Stephanie again. They definitely still do this. Hit the like, subscribe button if you watch Balance Sports and found out about it thanks to your local TV listing magazine website extraordinaire.
The last 2 are Most Improved Player. We have Sophie Cunningham and Jess Shepard.
I think both players also could get nods here. Jess Shepard, you showed me the stat line, and that looked funny. Yeah, she did improve. From 2 points to 8. I mean, I feel like in the past, people that won this award went from like 7 to 15 points.
I'm wondering if this is something that Ezzy can slide into of a Most Improved Player. And is it disappointing? Like, if you campaign for Ezzy to get Defensive Player of the Year and she gets Most Improved, is that not what you... clearly, it's not what you wanted, but, like, does that happen? Or it's like, no, what they campaign for, they either get it or don't.
I'm pretty certain you campaign for the one you think your player is going to get. And not to say that Ezzy couldn't get both, but I think they would have been doing it for both. I think they see it as unrealistic that Ezzy's going to get the Most Improved Player at this point. I think there's just other people that are higher than her on that list.
Okay.
Sabrina is someone that people keep mentioning for Most Improved.
No.
She was good.
No.
This isn't a knock. Obviously, it's a compliment. But I'm like, well, we knew she was like this, and she was good when she was healthy.
Yeah.
She just had a full season.
That's not the same.
Most full season award.
And
Sophie Cunningham for that award. The most improved player.
Sophie.
The most improved player that you picked up on your fantasy roster. You liar!
I needed points. And Sophie be getting points. And
we said right here last week and read our rosters. And later that day, you went and picked up Sophie Cunningham and you said, we're not going to read these rosters again. How dare you?
We would have to reshoot. Oh, I can't ask you to come back
I would have for that. I would have gotten dressed exactly what I was wearing.
Your fantasy roster looks quite different as well.
Because everyone's sick and injured.
I'm going to cut that part. Yeah, so award season is getting really close, and the Balorts are as well. So be sure to vote. There'll be a link in the description about the Balorts.
It's going to be a great time. Get on there. Give us your nominations. It's going to be silly. And then before that, we are going to be voting also next week on who we think should be in the WNBA's first team, second team, WNBA MVP. Rookie of the Year, Sixth Woman of the Year, Most Improved, and then All Defensive Team.
That's right. That's right.
Dang, busy week up in this gig. We better call Kathy.
Kathy. All right, let's get into storm news.
It has been a very busy week. There is so much happening around Climate Pledge.
Wednesday night was Brittney January night in Climate Pledge Arena. It is one of her last regular season games, and so that they did a wonderful thing for her, and checks were signed, and t-shirts and all of that. She had a lot of family and friends there, so that was really, really special for her. It was Stewie shoe night. The Quiet Fires had some presence there at the Wednesday night game against Minnesota, and of course Sue overshadows all of it, rightfully so, all of it, because of the career that she's had, and she's wrapping up her season as well. Getting in her last home games, regular season home games. So a lot going on in Seattle.
Definitely. It was a really, really, really busy night before game. I almost felt like, thank gosh, we can focus on basketball once the tip happened.
Lauren Jackson.
Lauren Jackson was there. Yeah, we didn't even mention that. And all fun things. It was just like, oh, I should be here now. Let's go check out Puma things and Lauren Jackson interview. Really amazing stuff. I do just want to focus and start with Brittney January. She has had an incredible career, and I'm not saying she wasn't. She deserves all celebration.
Absolutely.
All I'm trying to say is I wish there weren't so many things happening the night that she was being honored, because she is such a incredible player and she's had a ridiculously awesome career. And I just think there was so much happening that I wish there would have been an extreme focus on her.
Focus.
Yeah. So just props to her. The shirts that were given out to everyone at the arena were really fire shirts. I thought it was great that they had thank you videos from the Storm players, but also the Connecticut Sun, who she recently played for, Lynn Dunn at Indiana Fever, where she won a championship, was there. And Sylvia Fowles also, it was her last game last night. So shout out videos to her. My gosh, there was so much happening.
There was a lot of fans, 13,000 fans in attendance.
For a sellout?
For a sellout. It was awesome. It was an awesome game. A incredible pass is where we're going to move on to next from Gabby Williams during the game. The behind the back pass to Jewel Lloyd for the layup.
Off a steal.
Off of a steal.
She said, I can do all things through me who strengthens me. I will get the steal. I'll go down. Cow behind the back.
Showtime.
I like that even they were winning by like 30. They were having fun. And in the press conference, coach said, as long as she made that pass and it connected, was it good? And I was like, wow. Even in that moment, you're like, you only try this if you're up. Coach is gonna coach.
Yes.
But that was fire. And there was an entertainment level of that game last night. I don't know if it's because the fans were there. Some people were saying it's because Lauren Jackson was sitting in front row. And I think, Lauren, you need to extend that visa, Henny, and stay over here a little bit longer, because
we're going to need you for the playoffs.
Sue was getting to the basket.
Sue was driving to the hole with Sylvia Fowles defending her. Yes, she got blocked, of course, but it was like...
She also made a couple bunnies.
She did make some as well. I was like, this is a choice. Like, what are you doing? Sue is showing out and balling. Okay. My fantasy points appreciated it. Thank you very much.
Stewie was showing out and balling too. There was a stretch, I believe it was in the second quarter. She already had 15 to 20 or something. And we looked over at a couple other media people. I believe it was her fourth shot, like fourth possession down, and they pass it to her, and she just shoots a three really quick. And it was a heat check. She was feeling it last night.
Yes,
that was really fun. She ended the game with 33 of them things. Woo! Tina only had 3.
You didn't have.
I didn't have to. So Stewie's shoe was the Stewie 1 Quiet Fire last night. I thought there was going to be more Puma stuff. But the things they had were incredible.
We were all hoping for free shoes, which is what happened in All-Star Game. I'm just saying, home crowd could really love some free shoes. Just saying.
The little dancers, they had Puma tracksuits on. They looked incredible.
They were so cute.
Yeah, so it was a really great game. We started off the game 12-0. We had 4 threes to start.
That was Tina got a point. Tina got 3 points from there.
Tina said, I'll do it real quick and then y'all get the rest. Take it from here. I also thought it was really wonderful. We've talked about how personable and just warm Stewie is to interview, but I really liked that she said, we know on nights like tonight that for Brittney January or Sylvia or Sue, that these players are going to have a lot more emotions and there's a lot on their plate, so it's up to the rest of us to step up and play. She's just the best. I want her on my team. I don't even like play a sport. I want her on this team. She gets it.
Yeah.
She is a wonderful human.
She
Big
absolutely
fan.
is. Absolutely.
Don't
is.
leave. It was really awesome to get to see Syl one last time. It was really cool to hear Ariel Powers yelling obscenities into the stands.
Let me tell y'all something. Y'all know how I feel about AP, if you will. And it was cemented last night at her yelling at a ref, yelling like, "Oh no, that wasn't a foul. Good defense. Good." It was just like obnoxiously her. And again, great for Minnesota fans. I'm sure, you're rooting for her. You want that. She was playing against my team, so I don't love it. Ugh.
Yeah, I have to say, watching her play now several times in person, she strikes me as a player. If your team picked her up, I'd have questions. There was one possession, I'm not even kidding, I watched it happen. She's sitting over there in the corner and they're running some set up top and it never gets kicked back around to her. And they end up turning the ball over and she throws her hands up in the air like she was not even involved in the play. And she walks off to the huddle before they even call the timeout. They call the timeout and she pops off and says something to Cheryl and Cheryl goes, "I'll get onto them. You stop worrying about it." And basically Ariel Powers was like, "The ball wasn't kicked to me," or blah, blah. And Cheryl was going to be like, "Yeah, I'll tell these girls to run this play, but calm the fuck down."
Yeah.
And then Lauren Jackson was there. We got to interview the GOAT, legend, Storm legend.
She was so humble. And so, like, I think one of my favorite things she said was someone asked, like, "Oh, have you talked to Stewie just about, basketball and I guess, like, how to be great kind of deal?" And she was like, "Stewie's great. I'm an old retired basketball player." They shared that she came into, or I think Coach shared after the game, Lauren came into the locker room and was like, "Some of you may not even know who I am." And they're like, "Of course we know who you are." Yeah, she was just very humble and just a pleasure to be around.
She was awesome. It was really cool to get to interview her. I also was struck by how interesting would it be. You haven't played for this team organization in a really long time. Like she said, I'm just like a mom and I'm a retired basketball player. And then she gets brought into this press room and we, the media, essentially get to grill her. I was thinking as we're asking her questions, this would be hard for any person, period, to come in. I asked her, "Who are your favorite young players in the league?" And that would be hard for me to be put on the fly. And she was just very wonderful and a great time to interview. I like that she has such a special close bond with Sue and came back for that. She said she wasn't going to be around on the 7th. We thought she'd be here for months.
I really thought that we were sitting there like, "How long do you think she's gonna be here?" I was like, "Oh, a month," like, because she came all the way from Australia, so like I would think that she would try and be here for a long time. And she was like, "Yeah, I leave on Monday." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Please stay for the playoffs.
And I still like her perspective. Asked her what she's seen grow in the WNBA, and she says that social media is so much more prevalent that players can use their voices in a lot of ways. And I was appreciative of that because I think we still get frustrated at times with how far behind the WNBA is in a lot of ways. But I was like, it's important to remember in these moments. This is a player that was here in that time and saying it's amazing how these players can use their voices, and they have. They've affected elections. They've affected policy.
Yes.
So that was a really cool, I just thought, moment for her to kind of touch base on.
Absolutely.
So last night, Coach was telling us that she sat down and point blank told the team, she didn't mention Washington Mystics by name, but she said, "I showed them who we're up against in terms of getting home court advantage."
Yeah.
Clearly, the Storm, every team wants home court advantage. Our fans have been changing the game. I'm just going to say that. Great fans. And Seattle, the remaining 4 games, will play Las Vegas, Chicago, Minnesota, and Las Vegas. 3 of your 4 remaining games are against the top 2 teams in the league.
We're gonna kill them. Yeah.
And then Washington's remaining 4 games. And remember, we are tied in the standings. If we tie with them, then we will get that home court advantage as we have won the season series. Washington plays Chicago, LA, Indy. Indiana has 5 wins on the season. You got to think of those as 2 wins for Washington.
I mean, they can't think of it that way. They have to play hard and win, but
We
all
will
know.
consider it a done deal. Unless Kelsey Mitchell comes back and decides to pop off. Kelsey, please.
With the outlook as it is, we will likely be traveling to Washington.
Which would be tough. Right now, both teams are 12-20. We are 12-20. Washington's 12-20. We were told that there's a scenario, very real scenario, where Seattle plays their last game of the regular season in Las Vegas. In the way that the playoffs are set up, they would fly, let's just say they're going to play in D.C. They would fly from Vegas to D.C. after already having been on the road for the last week to 2 weeks of the season. Fly from Vegas to D.C. to begin that playoff series. That is a long time to be on the road. That's exhausting travel. And I keep thinking about a lot of times it feels like playoff scenarios in one way or another are set. Your seed is set. The team you're playing is set. So there's maybe less to play for. And what's really fascinating to me is there's nothing set in stone about these playoffs yet. And every team is really having to fight for their ranking or their place. You can't rest players right now. And I'm curious how that will affect some of these teams going into the playoffs, not having rested some of their main gals.
You foresee some resting coming up. I don't think Seattle will be resting anyone. I just don't think we can rely on the bench. So last night, my question to coach, I was like, we won the game, but the bench production was only 10 points. We cannot be doing that on Sunday against Vegas. And coach was like, it'll be different. It will be very different. The matchups and da-da-da-da, they're professionals. I don't think Seattle will be a team resting their starters. Perhaps a Vegas will be resting some people, but I think they have a similar situation where their bench is not.
It was just to say, and who are they going to play?
Who would they get? Exactly.
And last night, we haven't even talked about Stephanie Talbot seemed to have rolled her ankle pretty badly. Maybe she'll be resting it for a game or two. Like we would have one less bench player. We saw Coach practicing with him. Maybe she signs a 7-day contract. I don't know. Coach Quinn will call you for immediate availability.
We saw you hooping, girl.
Saw you hooping. So and Elena Deladon's they said going to play the remainder of the games. Maybe she'll take a rest game or so, but really want home court advantage.
I think it would be very nice. We have proven that we can play in a playoff environment in Washington and still get a win. So even if we travel to Washington, lose one, win one, come back to Seattle, we're winning at home.
You feel good about that?
I absolutely do. I frankly, I think if it was the other way, I wouldn't feel as if we have home court advantage. I think it would be the same thing. I think we would win one and lose one and then go there for them, and I think they take it.
Oh, you think home court advantage has that big of a sway? Well, for those two teams specifically, the Storm are 13-4 at home. The Mystics are 11-5. The Storm has lost 4 games all season compared to losing 8 at home. Thank you. They've lost 4 games all season at home compared to 8 on the road.
Saying.
I think this speaks to how hard it is to fly economy. If you want Balance Sports to travel first class, we are going to start attaching a Balance Sports Venmo to all of our channels.
We are not.
We actually should.
No, we are.
I think we should. Not. At Balance Sports, we're mothers. First and foremost, sports fans second.
So this is Gabby, and this is Stewie at the press conference.
This is Helen. Helen, tell everyone on the channel who your favorite team in the W is, sweetie. Who would you vote for most entertaining? Helen.
Most entertaining team? Player.
Do you love Liz Cambage? Do you think that Liz will be back in the W? Helen, speak now.
And this is Baker. They are named after mountains in Washington.
What are all 3 of their names?
So there's a third kitten who's still sleeping. These were sleeping for the record. The third one is named Rainier.
So we have Rainier, Baker, and just Helen.
Well, because St. Helens seemed a little... we weren't going to call them St. Helens. So.
Because there's no other mountains in the nearby area.
Shasta? What did you want me to go with?
What about Quinn? And it was Quinault. What about...
But then Helen was funny.
Crystal Lake. Helen is hilarious. That's why it is so funny.
Yeah. This is my cat,
Helen. This is Baker. This is Rainier. Helen. Your voice has to change when you say that. And Helen.
And Helen.
There's no qualifier. This is beautiful Baker. This is Radical Rainier and Helen.
Oh, all right. For Balanced Sports, I'm Jewelz.
And I'm Hunter.
Are there any young players in the league right now that you get really excited to see, or who are some of your favorite players to watch right now?
Right now, gosh, you're making me think. Yeah, I mean, look, I love watching Marina Mabrey play. I think she's fantastic. Who else? There's a lot. Like, you know, I saw New York play a couple of games over there, and Sabrina, you know, she's been playing phenomenal basketball. There's a lot of great young talent coming through, and I think the draft in the next couple of years is going to be pretty special as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of talent, but, you know, in the same breath, there's a lot of players in the league that are just, you know, incredible athletes, and it's just a fun league to watch as a fan. So,
Lauren, can you recommend Kangaroo and Kiwi? You got some favorite recommendations for us Americans?
Kangaroo and Kiwi, of course.
What dishes should we take?
Meat pies. They also have some nice Sauvignon Blanc. Do some decent martinis, I believe. Yep. And they have Vegemite on toast, which is, you know, probably my favourite. Just as